Should I get him tested? I'm here right now in this problem. Do I need to get him tested? Will that diagnosis help him in the coming years in school? What are the pros and cons of diagnosis?
It's a personal choice, right? Because there are pros and cons. One of the pros to getting an official or formal diagnosis is that you have an actual confirmed explanation for what you're seeing. And
Okay.
sometimes that can be a sigh of relief. Sometimes that explanation can lower the temperature on all of the frustration that you're feeling, that your child's feeling, and you may choose to do nothing with it, right? After you get the diagnosis, but just knowing can really reduce stress and anxiety sometimes too. Another pro for getting a diagnosis is if your child is in a public school, then that will make them eligible for accommodations and sometimes even services. So that can be a welcome assist, right? Like
Okay.
to know that, okay, my child's teachers are aware of the struggle, are going to help support my child in their struggle.
So I've heard from some families, some parents, and then maybe even in my own family, some people, that the objection is, I don't want my kid labeled. I don't want to get a diagnosis for him. I don't want to get tested because if he has a label, he has an excuse. How would you address that?
So I think that's valid. I think it's absolutely valid that you might not want your child to have a label. So the question then you need to ask yourself is why? What is it that makes me feel that way? I think it's also important to recognize that ADHD symptoms wax and wane, right? So there can be seasons where those symptoms are really severe. And in that season, you're going to want as much support for your child as possible.
Wow.
And then in those seasons where the symptoms aren't quite as severe, then that's an opportunity for your child to experience success despite the struggle. And so I think that's hopeful.